So we're going to be doing a tier list of the new rares and mythics of the D&D set for Magic. Yeah, it's Magic and D&D. It's actually really cool. So we got this tier list. We got this cool side scrolling thing we got going on. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's talk about some D&D and Magic. Yeah, 2012 was an interesting time for Magic. So I started back in 2010. Took like really small intermittent breaks. But yeah, if you got into D&D this year, check out some cards in here. Like you might see some familiar characters. God, I hate the word familiar. But anyways, let's get this started. We got Adult Gold Dragon. This guy is super cool. I can see him getting played in like mid range and control. More mid range than control. Like I would play this in control because the flying lifelink case is actually pretty good. So I'll throw him in the A tier. Then we got Asmodeus, the Archfiend. Um, you can basically ignore everything about him except for his activated ability, where it has a pay 3 black and draw 7 cards. Throw him in the graveyard and slap a Necrotic Ooze on the field and just go ham. Throw him in the A tier too. Starting out pretty solid with some rares. Yeah, 4/3 flying lifelink haste on adult gold dragon. Like he's actually a pretty bonkers rare. Then we got a bard class. This is a new enchantment type class. You basically have like different classes in D&D and all that fun stuff. So I really like this because it has a legendary synergy, the synergy of the legendary creatures. It's okay, but I want to see more of this kind of stuff, so I'll throw that in the C tier. And we got a Cave of the Frost Dragon. It's a white man land that becomes a 3/4 white dragon with flying until end of turn. It's pretty meh. I'd throw that in the D tier. Then we got a Circle of Dreams Druid. This guy is absolutely bonkers. He's gonna see play. I'm gonna throw the boy in the S tier because he taps for green for each creature you control, and he's basically a Guidus Cradle, and he has a synergy with elves and devotion. Like this guy's insane. He will see play. I guarantee it. Yeah, that they actually introduced bards in as a creature type. We might see some. I think there's a 1 or 2 bard rares in this set. But yeah, that's a Circle of Dreams Druid. Absolutely insane. Then we got a Dancing Sword. That's an equipment that gives a +2/+1. When a creature dies, you may have Dancing Sword becomes a 2/1 construct creature with flying and ward 1. If you do, it isn't an equipment. Again, it's pretty meh, kind of slow and pretty conditional. Might throw that in the E tier. Now we got a Delina Wild Mage. I actually went against this on Arena, and it's pretty hilarious. So if you get the right cards in the right combo, it's pretty dumb. When it attacks, you roll D20. That's new for this set is rolling D20s, and they got some really cool effects. If you roll 1 through 14, you create a taps an attacking creature token of a creature. It dies at the end of turn. Well, end of combat, my bad, and it isn't legendary. If you roll 15 through 20, you create 2 of those tokens instead. I like it. I thought in the B tier. You get to build around it a lot, but if you get the combo off, it's super hilarious. You have a Den of the Bugbear. This is the Red Man land that becomes a 3/2. I want to increase the size on this just a little bit so I can read it more. Oh yeah, that's so much better. Yeah, 3/2 red goblin creature with one of her attacks. Create a 1/1 red goblin creature that's tapped and attacking. I mean, it's okay, but probably one of the more man lands. Probably throw in the D tier as well. We have the Absolute Chad Dragon Turtle. Is a 3/5 flash dragon turtle. Very convenient name. It's a type of the creature too. When it ETBs, tap it and tap it and up to one target creature an opponent controls. They don't untap during the control's next untap step. It's just a really fancy flash spell, and I don't know. I just don't like it. I'd probably throw in the F tier. Oh, there's a lot of cool D&D elements. You might know this character as Drizzt Do'Urden. I probably butchered that. Is a 3/3 double strike for 5. When it ETBs, create a legendary 4/1 creature token named oh god, Gwen Gwen Wyver. Gwen Wyver. You can roast me in the comment section if you want when this goes on YouTube. That's perfectly fine. Um, Whenever a creature dies, if it had power greater than Drizzt's, put a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the difference. I mean, it's cute. It's slow. I'd probably throw it in a D. I'd probably throw it in the E tier. Like it's slow, but yeah. We have a Dungeon Descent. Is a land ETB's tapped. Taps for colorless. You get tap 4. Tap an untapped legendary creature you control. Venture into the dungeon. Activate only as a sorcery. So dungeons. I don't know if I can pull up one on screen. TG dungeon cards. But yeah, there's these. So basically, when you venture to the dungeon, you can choose one of the dungeon cards and you go inside of it. And it starts at the first room. We use this one as an example. You venture to the dungeon, you go to the first room, you trigger the ability, so you scry one, and that's where you end. But the next time you venture into the dungeon, you choose this room or go down this room. Then you do the ability, then you stop there, then keep venturing. Then once you get down here, you do the final ability, then you complete the dungeon. So yeah. Then if you venture into the dungeon again after that, you can go into the same one, do it again, or you can do a different dungeon. It's a super cool mechanic. I really enjoy it. But as for this card, it requires a lot just to do anything with it. And you're basically tapping 5 mana on a slow land, and that's super bad. It is D&D on a card. Then you have Eye of Vecna. This one's a legendary artifact that costs 2. When it ETBs, you draw a card and you lose 2 life. Beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2 life. If you do, you draw a card and you lose 2 life. Like, I'm gonna throw this in the A tier, because this is a super solid draw engine, especially in colors white that don't really get card draw. It's a super good card. I can see it being played in Commander. Probably not Standard, but definitely Commander. This will see Commander play. Like, it's borderline staple status, because like that card draw is super good. Like so, like paying 2 mana on 4 life to draw 2 cards during during your by the end by the upkeep of your next turn. That's really good. Then we have another class. This is fighter class, and how classes work is I should have explained this in the first class, but you start at level 1, you do the ability, then you can pay the mana to go to level 2, then you gain that ability along with the first ability if they're static abilities, then so on for level 3. This one tutors for an equipment, puts in your hand, then equip abilities cost 2 less to activate. Then a third one is whenever a creature you control attacks, up to 1 target creature blocks it if combat if able. Like I would do it just for the level 1 and 2. The third one just it's kind of meh. But the fact that it tutors on equipment, I would put that in I put that in A tier as well, because having tutors is great, and equipment tutors is super awesome. I'm kind of sad it's not mono white, so I can throw it in SRAM, but hey, it is what it is. Do we have the best card name ever? Flumph is a 0/4 flying jellyfish defender for 2. Whenever it's dealt damage, you and target opponent each draw a card. This is in the absolute turd why you're running this tier. If it was just you draw a card, that'd be pretty good. But like I don't know, like it's like this weird focus where they want to give white more card draw, but they're like, hey, let's make the other players draw cards too, and that's just not good in my opinion. And Force Warden Paladin, 1-drop, 1/1 menace, pay 2, pay 1 life, create a treasure token, or pay 3, target creature gets +2/+2 +2/+0 until end of turn. If a mana from a treasure was spent to activate it, it gains Death Touch until end of turn. I mean, yeah, S tier for the card name on Flumph for sure, but what it does, it belongs in that absolute turd why you're running this tier. I mean, it's a 1-drop. It's okay. I'd probably throw it at I'd probably throw it in the C tier because repeatable treasure generation is pretty good. And we have a Froghemoth is a 4/4 for 5 frog horror trample haste, and it deals combat damage to a player. Put that many target cards from their graveyard. What? Yeah, exile. Okay, exile that many cards from their graveyard. That was really weird wording. Put a 1/1 counter on it. For each creature exiled this way, you gain 1 life for each creature that's exiled this way. And it's cute, but it's no Scavenger Ooze. But the 4/4 trample haste is pretty decent for standard. That's not super fantastic though. I'd probably throw in the D tier. Then we have the boy, the legend, Gelatinous Cube. Is a 4/3 for 4, and has engulf. When it ETBs, exile target non-ooze creature token an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. Then you can dissolve it, where you pay X in black, put target creature card with mana card value X exiled with it into its owner's graveyard. That's kind of weird on the dissolve ability, but it is instant speed. I mean, Ravenous Chupacabra is solid play just because it's an uncommon that just destroyed a creature on an ETB, and that's a pretty solid card. Like, I would throw this in the B tier because super aggressive body on a 4/3, and if you have the mana open, you can just dissolve the creature so it doesn't come back. I think it's pretty solid. Oh no, his Wi-Fi is dying, but he's back. Do we have a Cthulhu? I mean, a Grazilax, Illithid Scholar. So 3/2 for 3. Whenever a creature you become whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may return it to its owner's hand. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Like I do like this card. Like it goes in flyer decks. It goes into like small evasive creature decks. I can think of a few commander decks where this would be super solid in, but it is pretty situational on what it does. I probably throw Grazzleax into the C tier because it's pretty decent in the right build. Then we have a Guardian of Faith. It's a 3/2 flash vigilance for 3. When it ATBs, any number of target creatures you control phase out. And you basically treat them like they don't exist until the controller's next turn. Until your next turn, basically. I do like this. This is a pretty cool way to avoid a board wipe. It's kind of sad that he doesn't target itself, but then again, that'd be kind of OP. Just to flash it in, phase everything out, avoid the board wipe, punish your opponent. I really do like this card. I'll put it in the B tier. We have a Hall of the Storm Giants. It is a blue man land. And you can pay 6 until end of turn. It becomes a 7/7 blue giant creature with ward 3. It's still a land. Like this is probably I probably like this over the 2. Like I might throw this in the C tier. It's in blue. It's in the control colors. If blue gets control of the game, they can just pay 6 mana, swing a 7 at you. Fun stuff. Then we have the Hand of Vecna. It is a 3-drop equipment. Beginning of combat on your turn, equip creature or a creature you control named Vecna gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Equip. Pay 1 life for each card in your hand, or pay 2 to equip. I don't like cards that rely on you having a bunch of cards in your hand just to be good. Like even with the alternate equip cost, it's just I don't know. I probably throw that in the E tier. Then there's a Hive of the Eye Tyrant. This is the Black Man land that becomes a 3/3 Black Beholder creature with menace, and one of this creature attacks, exile target cards from a defending player's graveyard. This one is pretty cool. I like that it becomes a 3/3 with menace for only 4. That's pretty decent on a manland cost. I'd probably say it's probably one of the better manlands out of the set. So I'll probably throw it in the B tier. Plus, maybe exiling a single card in attack is pretty decent in some situations too. Then we have a Hobgoblin Bandit Lord. 3-drop, 2/3. Other goblin creatures you control get +1/+1. And you pay red, tap him. He deals damage equal to the number of goblins that enter the battlefield under your control this turn to any target. And this is definitely not a card that's being begged to be thrown in Krenko. Nah. But as a 3-drop lord, especially in goblins, definitely A tier. Like it would see play just for that ability alone. You don't really need the other ability. Then we have an Instrument of the Bards. Legendary artifact for 1 green. Beginning of your upkeep, put a harmony counter on it. Pay 4, tap. Search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to the number of harmony counters on it. Reveal it, put it into your hand. If the card is legendary, create a treasure token. It is a repeatable creature tutor, which is nice. Especially going turn 1. It's really solid going turn 1 dropping this. But like late game, it's a really bad top deck and it just overall feel bad. Like I'd probably throw this in the C tier Repeatable tutor's nice, but top decking at late game, you just kind of die. Then we have a Lair of the Hydra. This is the Green Man land. This one's probably my favorite of the man lands of this set. You pay X and green. Till end of turn, it becomes an XX green Hydra creature. X can't be 0. This is pretty good. I enjoy this. I probably put in the same tier as Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Plus, if you play a ramp heavy deck, you can go late game, just big smack, big creature, go boom. Then we have a Long Rest, X and triple green. Return X target cards with different mana values from your graveyard to your hand. If 8 or more cards return this way, your life total becomes equal to your starting life total. Exile Long Rest. I pulled like 3 of this card within like the box and pre-release kits I opened, and I mean, it's like I don't really like it. Like I'd probably throw in the D tier. It's probably better than what I'm saying it is, but I don't really like it. Loyal Warhound, 3/1 Vigilance Dog, good boy. When it ATBs, an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for basic planes, put on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. I'm gonna put the good boy in A tier. I can definitely see this being played in different commander decks, especially the Ren and Sevi. Like, Ren and Sevi needs more cards like this. Meteor Swarm. It is a obligatory X red spell in the set. It's a X and triple red. Deals 8 damage divided as you choose amongst X target creatures and or planeswalkers. It's a really bad attempt at a board wipe. Bonk. Get bonked. But yeah, this is the really bad X spell. And good and limited. I won't put this in the F tier. Thank you, Bipolar Gamer, for the bonk. Then we have a Mind Flayer. I'm sure everybody that has heard of D&D has heard of Mind Flayer. When it ETBs, gain control of target creature for as long as you control Mind Flayer. It's a cool card. It's an iconic creature. I probably throw it in the C tier. It's average at best. We have a Minion of the Mighty. Is 0/1 menace for 1 red and has pack tactics. Whenever you attack with it, and if you're attacking with creatures with a power of 6 or greater during this combat, you may put a dragon card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Like, this dude's super solid. I really like this card, especially in commander decks. I'd probably throw this in the B tier. He's one of those cards that if you don't answer it, things are gonna go out of hand real quick. And if you're playing in a dragon deck, if they don't answer this, they have to answer to your dragons. If they answer that, they're gonna have to answer to your dragons. Either way, they're answering to some dragons. They got a monk class. The second spell you cast this turn costs 1 less to cast. Then level 2, when you become level 2, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. And it's a sorcery speed, I believe. Yeah, it's a sorcery. Then, 3rd level, beginning your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. For as long as it remains exiled, you may cast that card from exile as long as you cast another spell this turn. I don't know. Like, I'm not really sure where to rank this one at. Like, it's another one of the build around cards, and it just kind of sucks in everything else. Like, even if you do build around it, like the payoff doesn't seem like it's really there. Probably throw that in maybe E tier. We have a Nadar, Selfless Paladin, 3-drop 3/3 Dragon Knight, cool creature typing, Vigilance, ATBs, or attacks, venture to the dungeon. Other creatures gets +1/+1 for as long as you completed a dungeon. Like, this card's super cool. I like cards that can generate you advantage and keep sending you back into the dungeon for one card. I'd probably throw that maybe in the B tier, like higher B tier. Yeah, I think it's a cool card. We have a ochre jelly, X and green, trample, ETBs with the X counters on it, then splits. When it dies, if it had two or more 1/1 counters on it, create a token that's a copy of it at the beginning of your next end step. The token enters the battlefield with half that many X 1/1 counters on it, rounded up. Well, rounded down, my bad. It's a really cool Hydra, like a Hydra like effect. They should make a Hydra that does something similar so the Hydra decks can play this. I think it's really good late game, like for sure. Like it just keeps coming back, keeps getting big, keeps getting smaller and smaller. Sure, yeah, but it has trample. If you get a big one of these out, it's gonna get bonked. Probably throw in the B tier. Alrighty. Thanks for coming to the stream, Fetch. And I'll try to catch you live too sometime. I do appreciate the support. Orb of Dragonkind. It's a 2-drop artifact. Pay 1 and tap it. Add 2 mana of any combination of colors. Spend the mana to cast dragons or activate abilities of dragons. Pay red, tap, sack. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal a dragon card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom in any order. This card is super awesome in dragon builds. I'd probably put that in the maybe B tier. You can kind of whiff on it. Though, like, the repeatable mana draw is pretty nice too. Orcus, Prince of Undeath. Costs X, 2 colorless, 1 black, 1 red, 5/3 flying trample demon. And ETBs, each other creature gets -X until end of turn, you lose X life. Or return up to X target creature cards with total mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste until the end of turn. This guy would be a super cool commander to build around. Sure, you have to put a lot of ramp into it to make it even good. But I think I'd rather use it as a second ability, especially late game. Like if you put 5 into this, so you're spending 9 mana to get a 5/3 trample flying, and you're bringing back 4 creatures with haste that already died. So I mean, pretty good card. Though it's a pretty intensive mana sink. Probably put in the C tier. Oh yeah, Oswald Fiddlebender. 2-drop, 2/2. Tactical Tinkering. Pay white, tap, second artifact. Search your library for an artifact with a total mana value equal to the 1 plus the sacrifice artifact's mana value. Put it to the battlefield. This dude's pretty bonkers. I can see him being played in a lot of stuff. Probably throw him in the A tier. You got a Paladin class. Spells your opponent's control cast. Well, spells your opponent casts during your turn cost 1 more to cast. Level 2. Creatures in control get +1/+1. Third level. Whenever you attack, until end of turn, target attacking creature gets +1/+1 for each other attacking creature and gains double strike. Like even for it just being level 1, that's a really solid level 1 ability. Like I'd probably use it for the level 1 and level 2, maybe level 3 if things got into late game. But I think it's a really good stacks card. Like the 1-drop. A 1-drop tax effect protects yourself during your turn from counter spells. It's pretty good. I like it. I probably put that in B tier. Ranger class. ETBs, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Level 2. Whenever you attack, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature. Pay 4. Look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. I like it just for it's a vanilla 2/2 essentially at level 1, which is okay at best. I have seen the second ability used quite a bit. I do like this card. Probably one of the better classes. Probably put that in maybe B rank. Got a rogue class. Level 1 is whenever a creature you control deals damage to a player, combat damage, my bad. Exile the top card of that player's library, face down. You may look at it for as long as its face remains exiled. Level 2, creatures you control have menace. Level 3, you may play cards exiled with rogue class, and you may spend mana as those or mana of any color to cast those spells. This card sounds cool, but then again, I don't really know. That's a really big mana sink. You're paying 9 mana over the course of a couple turns just to be able to maybe cast more stuff. You're spending so much mana, like just to steal cards, and like I like the concept, but the execution seems pretty bad. I'll put that in the F tier. Skeletal Swarming. 3 colorless, 1 black, 1 green enchantment. Each skeleton creature you control has trample. Attacks each combated Avel and gets +X+0, where X is the number of other skeletons you control. Beginning of your end step, create a tapped 1/1 black skeleton creature token. If a creature died this turn, create 2 of those tokens instead. I really like this card. I wish there was a better green zombies to pair with it, but this is a super cool card for skeleton tribal. I want more skeleton tribal stuff. Probably put that in the C tier. Yeah, I'll put that in C tier. Like the token generation is really nice. It just not that many skeleton support, and they need to make more. Sorcerer class. ETBs, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. Already looking pretty good just for that. Creatures you control have tap, add red or blue, spend the mana for sorceries, or to level up in a class. Level 3, when we cast an instant or sorcery spell, that spell deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of instant or sorcery cards you cast this turn. So that's a weird storm-like damage effect. And that last ability is a mouthful. I mean, like, just for the first part alone, like, drawing 2 cards, discarding 2 cards, that's really good. And, it gives you mana ramp. This card's insane. Like, I'd probably throw this in a A tier. Like, this is probably, like, one of the better classes, for sure. Sphere of Annihilation. Black X artifact, ETBs with X void counters on it. Beginning of your upkeep, exile Sphere of Annihilation. All creatures and planeswalkers with mana value less than or equal to the number of void counters on it. And all creature and planeswalker cards in all graveyards with mana value less than or equal to the number of void counters on it. So this thing just blows up everything. Yeah, Twitch on phone isn't really all that great. But I like on the mobile app that it's pretty good for Stream Manager. That's where I keep my chat at, so I can keep up on the chat. Really nice. But anyway, Sphere of Annihilation. It comes out. It exiles everything. It's a slow board wipe, but still a board wipe. So I'd probably throw that in the C tier. And we have Tasha's Hideous Laughter. It's a 3 mana mill spell. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until that player has exiled cards with total mana value of 20 or more. This card is insane in mill decks. I played this on Arena and I hit someone for like 20 cards for 3 mana. I'd probably throw that in the A tier for sure. Teleportation Circle. Beginning of your upstep, exile up to 1 target artifact or creature you control. Return that return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. I really like a Conjurer's Closet and any other cards that make you do stuff for ETB triggers. So probably a little biased, but that's going to be throwing the A tier. Plus, it's a better Conjurer's Closet. It costs one less, and you can do artifacts too. The Black Staff of Waterdeep. You may choose not to tap it during your own tap step. Animate Walking Statue. One colorless, one blue. Tap, and another non-token artifact you control becomes a 4/4 artifact creature as long as it remains tapped. Activate only as a sorcery. You can animate one thing. It's repeatable, I guess. Then again, it's not too bad now that I think about it, because I was thinking other stuff that animates stuff for like 2 to 3 mana. This being repeatable is actually really solid. Not gonna lie. I'd probably throw that in the. Yeah, I can only do it as a sorcery too. Yeah, I'd probably throw it in the C tier. Treasure chest. 3-color artifact. Pay 4, second, roll a d20. If you roll 1, you basically crit and you lose 3 life, which is hilarious. 2 through 9, you create 5 treasure tokens. Pretty awesome. And this is the instant speed too, which makes this card even better. 10 to 19, you gain 3 life and draw 3 cards. Or if you roll a quit, if you just roll quit and just rage quit. But if you crit, switch your library for a card. If it's an artifact card, you may put that card into the battlefield. Otherwise, put the card into your hand, then shuffle. This card's super cool. I like it. It's a roll dice card, so I'll probably throw that in the B tier. The flavor is there for sure. Like, this card is top notch in terms of like flavor and like how it ties into stuff. Treasure Vault. It is a artifact land, and that's all it really needs to be. You could pay double X, tap it, and create X treasure tokens. People aren't going to use that. They're going to, well, maybe actually. I'm going to lie about that. But that's going to the S tier because this will see play, just for being an untapped artifact land that hasn't been banned yet. Triumphant Adventurer. So 1/1 death touch for 2. As long as it's your turn, it has first strike. First strike death touch for 2 is actually really dumb. Like, we don't really see that on like cards by itself without like a heavy mana sink or like some downside to it. Whenever it attacks, adventure to the dungeon. Like, this card's super cool. Like, I'd probably put that in the A tier. Like, this card is gonna be pretty nutty. Probably gonna see play in the right build. True Polymorph. 4 colorless, 2 blue, instant. Target artifact or creature becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature. Like, I don't know, it's 6 mana for that. Sure, it's instant speed, maybe, no, F tier. For spending 6 mana on something like that, I don't know. Yeah, it's the D&D set. Of course you have to roll dice. Of a Varus, Silvery Moon Ranger, 3-drop 3/3 legendary human elf ranger, Vigilance Ward 1. When you cast a creature or a planeswalker spell, venture into the dungeon. Activate it only once per turn. Whenever you complete a dungeon, create a 2/2 green wolf creature. Create a 2/2 green wolf. Yeah. Blah. I'm a sucker for dungeon cards. I'm gonna throw this in the B tier. Not as cool as the other dude that enters the battlefield and swings adventure to the dungeon, but still really cool. You can pair it with some flash creatures too, so you can venture into the dungeon during your opponent's turn, which is really nice. You have another well-known creature. I mean, a character in D&D, Volo, Guide to Monsters. It's a 4-drop 3/2. Whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard, copy that spell. So this card is going to be one hilarious commander card. And, yeah, screw it. I'm going to throw him in the S tier. He's Chad. If you pair him with Spark Double, you can have 3 of them out. And whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a type, you create basically 4 of those. And things get out of hand real fast. Vorpal Sword. Equipped creature has +2/+0 and has Death Touch. You can pay 8 until end of turn. Vorpal Sword gains. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Equip 2 black. Probably throw it in the B tier. It's a cool card. If you hit your opponent with it activated, you win. Werewolf Pack Leader. 3/3 for 2. Already solid stats. Pack Tactics. When it attacks, if you attack with the power 6 greater, you draw a card. You pay 4 until end of turn. Pack Leader has base power, toughness 5 and 3, and trample. And is not a human. Like, this is another A tier card. I'll whip some of the zoom out some so I can actually. Yeah, there you go. That's better. It's a pretty solid card. Like, especially in a aggressive mono green build, you definitely want to run this for the card draw. Westgate Regent. It's a 4/4 flying vampire for 5. Board, discard a card. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put that many 1/1 counters on it. Like, at first, it doesn't seem that good. Like, the word discard a card is really good too. So no matter what, your opponent's gonna go -1 and card advantage just to try to deal with this. So this will almost always be a 1 for 2. And plus, if it's not answered, and your opponent doesn't have any flyers, it's gonna close out games pretty quick. Probably throw in the B tier. White, not the color, but the skeleton thing. Oh, zombie soldier. It's a 3/2 for 2. ETB's tapped. Life drain. Whenever a creature dealt damage by white dies this turn, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token and exile that card. I like this card. It's super aggressive. Generates you advantage, even if it dies from being swung at and you kill a creature. I like it. Probably throw in the B tier. Yeah. Wish. 2 colorless, 1 red sorcery. You may play a card you own from outside the game this turn. Or in Magic terms, actually I can increase the size of this a little bit, make things more readable. Or in competitive terms, your sideboard. Or in commander terms, you're not going to be able to play this card. Thanks, Karn. Thanks. But as for everything else, it's not terrible. You're paying 3 mana to go into your sideboard for a quick answer. I'd probably throw in the probably B tier. Wizard Spellbook. 5 colors, 2 blue. Artifact. Tap, exile, instant sorcery recovered from your graveyard. Then roll a d20. Activate only as a sorcery. 1 through 9. Copy that card. You may cast a copy. You still have to pay the mana cost. 10 through 19. Copy that card. You may cast a copy by paying 1 rather than paying its mana cost. Or if you crit, copy each card exile with Wizard Spellbook. You may cast any number of copies without paying their mana cost. Yeah, the art of the pack leader looks super awesome. So I want to see that card in foil. But as for Wizard Spellbook, it's a 7-drop, but the payoff is definitely there. Like, when you play it, you can exile a card from your graveyard, like the turn you play it, which is nice. And by then, you probably have some pretty decent instant or sorceries. Then again, it is a 7 drop. I'd probably throw that in maybe D tier. A little too slow for my liking. Like, if you're paying 7, you're gonna wanting to do more stuff than that. And it's a card that wants you to go for the longer game. But 7 drop, you're already going for the long game. With a Xorn, 2 colorless, 1 red, 3/2 elemental. If you would create one or more treasure tokens instead, create those many plus 1 and create those. Instead, create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. So I'm gonna throw that in S tier. This will see play. Um, I do like how they're making more treasure support, though I can see treasures getting out of hand, especially if they're making cards like this. Super awesome, super cool. And he has 3 legs, 3 arms, he don't care. Yon T. Malison. 2 colorless, 2/1 snake rogue. Can't be blocked as long as it's attacking alone. When it deals combat damage to player, venture to the dungeon. Again, it's another one of those cards that make you go into the dungeon repeatedly. And plus, he's pretty unblockable if you just attack with him, and your game goal is to basically just keep going to the dungeon and gaining advantage that way. I like it. I can see it. I can see it being played in standard, in a like a venture the dungeon kind of build. So that'll be A tier for sure. Zalto, Fire Giant Duke. just the fact that they put the name Giant Duke into a magic card. It's a 7/3 trample for 5. I don't even care what it does. Whenever it attacks, no, whenever it's dealt damage, you venture to the dungeon. Love the name, don't love the ability. D tier. Giant Duke. And I believe that's all for the mythics. Oh, we got one more. Yeah, no, wait. Okay, that's all for the rares. Now we'll be going over the mythics of the set now. We have Acererak, the Archlich. It's a 5/5 for 3, already insane. On the ATBs, if you haven't completed Tomb of Annihilation dungeon, return it to your hand, then venture into the dungeon. Whenever it attacks, for each opponent, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token unless the player sacrifices a creature. I've already seen some really nutty combos with this and a food chain. No, not food chain. You could probably do some stuff with food chain with it too, but Allurin, like this, and Allurin goes infinite, and you can venture into any other dungeon infinite amount of times and just gain stupid amounts of advantage. Like even if you don't do that, he's still a really solid card. I'd probably throw that in A tier. Like it's not like super crazy busted, but it's still really powerful. You have a Demi-Lich. This spell costs 1 blue less to cast for each instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn. Whenever it attacks, exile up to 1 instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Copy it. You may cast a copy. Whenever you may cast Demi-Lich from your graveyard by exiling 4 instant or sorcery cards from your graveyard in addition to paying its mana cost. So yeah, if this doesn't see play, I'm gonna be surprised. That's definitely going to S tier. This card's super duper donk and will do the bonk. Ebondeath Dracolich. Flash 5/2 flying for 4. ETB's tapped. When you cast it from a graveyard, if a creature not named Ebondeath, oh, I completely butchered that last ability. You may cast Ebondeath Dracolich from your graveyard if a creature not named Ebondeath Dracolich died this turn. It's a dragon, you have to keep answering. Probably put in the A tier. It's really good. Like the 5/2 flash flying, like you can flash it from a graveyard and just keep coming back. It's really dumb, and it's really awesome. You got a Eliwick Tumblestrom. So 4-drop Planeswalker Eliwick +1. Venture into the dungeon. -2. Look at the top six cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. If it's legendary, you gain 3 life. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. -7. You get an emblem with creatures you control have trample and haste and get +2/+2 for each different named dungeon you've completed. Again, it's another card that repeatedly lets you venture to the dungeon. Plus, like, I love the artwork on that. Super great. Got a Flame Skull. 3 colors, 3/1 flying skeleton. Can't block. Rejuvenation. When Flame Skeleton? That sounds kind of cooler, though. When Flame Skull dies, exile it. If you do, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may cast one of those. You may play one of those cards. If you cast Flame Skull this way, you can't play the other card. Exiled, vice versa. Let me read that for a second. Guys, exile it. Okay, end of your next turn. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking, like, if you couldn't cast it at flash speed and it was until end of turn, not till the end of your next turn, like, this card would kind of suck. But it has that Ebon Death like ability where it can keep coming back. Though it is slower than Ebon Death, it's okay. Like, I may just throw that in the in the B tier. That's okay, but I could probably be absolutely wrong about that, and maybe that card will destroy standard. Who knows? We'll find out. Grand Master of Flowers, 4-drop Bahamut Planeswalker. As long as Master of the Flowers has 7 or more loyalty counters on him, he becomes a 7/7 Dragon God creature with flying and indestructible. +1. Target creature without first strike, double strike, or vigilance can't attack or block until your next turn. +1. Search your library and or graveyard for a card named Monk of the Open Hand, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle. And a Monk of the Open Hand. So 1-drop 1/1. When you cast a second spell this turn, put a 1/1 counter on him. Though I do like how it's a +1 and you keep getting the 1-drop back. I'd probably put that at maybe the A tier. Like, it's a pretty, like, both the abilities are pretty solid. He can protect himself, and he can bring back the 1-drop over and over again. Like, if it was just from deck, I'd probably put in maybe like a B or C tier. But the repeatable creature is super nice. Icing Death, Frost Tyrant, 4 colorless, 4/3 legendary dragon, flying vigilance. When it dies, create Icing Death, Frost Tongue, a legendary white equipment artifact token with equipped creature gets +2/+0. Whenever a creature attacks, tap target creature defending player controls and equip 2. This is pretty decent, but compared to the other dragons, it's kind of meh. Probably throw that into the C tier. Still a cool card though, and great artwork. Inferno of the Star Mounts. 6 colorless, 6/6 dragon. Can be countered. Flying haste, already great. Pay red. Inferno of the Star Mounts gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Whenever its power becomes 20 this way, it deals 20 damage to any target. Big card, big number, big blam, kablam. Opponent get bonked. A tier. Limrith, Desert Doom, not, like, desert. Or no, other way around. So 5/5 flyer for 5 flying. It has Ward 4 as long as it's untapped. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Then if you have fewer than 3 cards in your hand, draw cards equal to the difference. I can see this being played in control builds, like just for the ability to draw a card, and it's pretty hard to kill unless you have an instant speed kill spell, because you just keep this thing untapped. If you somehow give it vigilance, that's pretty cool too. I'd probably put that maybe in the B tier. It's pretty cool. I could be wrong. You have a Loth, Spider Queen, 5-drop Loth Planeswalker. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a loyalty counter on it. Pay 0. Well, yeah, activate 0. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. -3. Create two 2/1 black spider creature tokens with menace and reach. -8. You get an emblem with whenever an opponent is dealt combat damage by 1 or more creatures you control. If the player lost 8 or less life this turn, they lose life equal to the difference. The -3 is really strong too. Creating 2 bodies that if they block and die, you just put 2 more counters on it. It's a great way to stall the game. And the 0 ability is nice for drawing cards, and the -8's okay. But the static ability on that's super strong. And it's a specifically non-token creature. It counts tokens too, and that's really insane. For that, I'd probably throw it in the A tier. Minsk, Beloved Ranger. 1 red, 1 green, 1 white, human ranger for 3/3. And ATBs, you create Boo, who is a legendary 1/1 red hamster creature token with trample and haste. You pay X until end of turn, target creature you control has base power of XX and becomes a giant in addition to its other creature types. Activate as only as a sorcery. So you can make a giant hamster named Boo. And that belongs in the A tier. They have a Mordenkainen. 6 colorless, so not 6 colors. 4 colorless, 2 blue, Mordenkainen. Draw 2 cards. Put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. -2. Create a blue dog illusion creature token with this power. This creature's power and toughness each equal to twice the number of cards in your hand. -10. Exchange your hand and library. Then shuffle. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. Like, Mordenkainen's a really cool card. Like, I love the design on it. The +2 is super solid. Yeah, I might throw that. Yeah, I'll throw it in the A tier. It makes a big chunky token. It draws cards. You may eventually get to the -10. It's unlikely, but if you get it off, it's pretty good. Yeah, Ye Old Gnawbone. 7 color, 7 drop, 7/7 dragon. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. Busted. Let's do the next tier. Book of Exalted Deeds. So 3 drop, beginning of your end step. If you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 3/3 white angel creature token with flying. Pay 3 white, tap, exile Exalted Deeds, and put an enlightenment counter on target angel and it gains. You can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game. Activate only as a sorcery. This is going into the B tier for banned, because it is currently banned in standard. So Boo is a giant space hamster, which means it's the size of a normal hamster. So it's like, would it mean like regular space hamsters, or just like even smaller midget hamsters? The Book of Vile Darkness. 3 black, legendary artifact. Beginning of your end step. If you lost 2 or more life this turn, create 2/2 black zombie creature token. Tap, exile it, and artifacts you control named Eye of Vecna and Hannah Vecna. Create Vecna, a legendary 8/8 black zombie god creature token with indestructible and it gains all triggered abilities of all of exiled cards. It's really cool. Like I want to build around this and like see if I can assemble Vecna. Those requires a lot of setup, and to use the really good effect on it, you get to build around it, get the cards, the exact cards in play without them being removed. The first ability is okay. You might assemble like maybe 2 or 3 zombies before it gets answered, or I probably thought that beats here. The deck of many things. It's like the bag of holding, but for decks. 5-drop artifact. Pay 2 and tap. Roll a d20 and subtract the number of cards in your hand. If the result is 0 or less, discard your hand. 1 through 9. Return a card at random from your graveyard to your hand. 10 through 19. Draw 2 cards. 20. Put a creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When that creature dies, its owner loses the game. It sounds really cool, but it's really slow. And honestly, now I'll probably throw in like the E tier. You're paying 7 mana to roll a dice, potentially discarding your entire hand. If you don't have a hand, you can potentially return a card at random, or draw 2 cards, or paying 7 mana to essentially critting to return 1 creature. It's not good in my opinion. We get the Tarask. 6 colorless, triple green. It's a 10/10 dinosaur. Has haste and ward 10 as long as it was cast. Neat. When it attacks, it fights target creature defending player controls. It's a big stompy boy. He stomp, he does stuff. Probably B tier because it 9-drop. It's pretty hard to cast and get the ability. We have the legend, the guy himself, the dragon himself, Tiamat. 7-drop, 7/7 dragon god. When it ATBs, if you cast it, search your library for up to 5 dragon cards not named Tiamat. They each have different names. Reveal them, put them to your hand, and shuffle. This goes into every dragon commander deck ever. Probably throw him in the 8 tier. Also, he can get changelings too. We have Xanathar, Guild Kingpin. It's a legendary beholder. It's a 5/6 for 6. Beginning your upkeep, choose target opponent. Until end of turn, that player can't cast spells. You may look at the top card of their library anytime. You may play the top card of their library, and you may spend mana, absorb mana of any color to cast a spell this way. It sounds really powerful, but it really depends on your opponent and their top deck. And it's pretty vulnerable to removal, as most cards are, but if your opponent sees this, they're going to want to answer it. So it's kind of like a removal magnet in a way. And if they don't have anything, you just paid 6 mana for basically a vanilla 5/6 that's just going to dirtle around. I probably put this in the C tier to zoom out just a tad bit more. And the last card is Zerial, Archduke of Avernus. 4 colorless, Planeswalker. +1, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. 0, create a 1/1 devil token. When it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. -6, you get an emblem with beginning of the first combat phase on each of your turns. Untap target creature you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. The first ability is kind of bad. The 0 ability is kind of bad. it's more of a race to get to the ultimate ability. And for that, I'd probably throw in the C tier because that's not all that great, in my opinion. And that is all the rares and mythics in D&D Adventures of the Forgotten Realms. The set drops this Friday. It's going to be super cool. You should check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, roast me in the comment section for getting some of these wrong. If you disagree with some, let me know. If you agree with some, let me know. Anything, let me know in the comment section when this goes on YouTube. But anyways, follow me on Twitch. I might do more stuff like this if this ends up being pretty good. It's a lot of fun to do this and just to talk about different new Magic cards that's coming out. And who knows, after the set comes out and I play some of these cards, I like my opinions might change on them. But like this is like the first interaction of these cards and seeing them in play and all that fun stuff. I might do different tier lists too if people recommend different tier lists. I think this is fun just to talk about random stuff and ranking them. But until next time, peace out.